my name is Dylan Garrett, and I will be talking about the record of decision for the Tar Creek Superfund site. Tar Creek is a creek in Cherokee that runs through Cherokee County and Ottawa County, Oklahoma, which is where this whole area is around. Historically, it was very important for galena and zinc mining, and this occurred from about the turn of the century is when they first discovered it, like 1901, but the main mining started in 1914 and it continued up until about the mid-60s. And because of this, it led to a lot of acid mine drainage, and that is not good for an ecosystem. It can affect air quality, water quality, aquatic life. In this case, it most threatened the water quality of the area and therefore the aquatic life. Thankfully, from what I saw in the article or the paper, the actual animal life was only affected in the Tar Creek itself, and the heavy metals from this acid mine drainage did not perforate into the drainage waters like the Neosho River or Spring River. And then this here is just a map of the general area. This line here, we have the state line between Kansas and Oklahoma, being Cherokee County and Ottawa County. Cherokee County is where I'm from, just a bit north of this. So not my hometown per se, but I did grow up around all this mining, historically. It's a big part of the whole area. Though these black blobs are just the mined areas where it is documented that they dug for lead and zinc, and even cadmium is in some of it. As far as the ESI requirements, the whole document was structured a bit differently than I was expecting. It didn't have a lot of the set in stone stuff that was laid out in the book. There wasn't a whole document or set of documents dedicated to an impact statement or impact statements for each. It did have impact statements for each decision if those were to be carried out, but it wasn't as big. It wasn't a big of part of the document as I would have thought. But obviously it was a record of decision, so I could be missing a lot of context from previous documents that I just did not see. There wasn't a FONSI either, finding of no significant impact, which I would have thought there would be for this one, but it might just be because it's a cleanup site, not exactly a highway being built or a dam or whatever. There's not going to be a significant human environmental impact. It's trying to fix what was already hurt, I suppose. And then it did go over alternatives. 5 were actually assessed for further development. 2 were ruled out completely. In situ treatment, so treating the contaminated water where it was. It's hundreds of feet underground in an aquifer. It'd be kind of hard to do, very expensive to pump it all out. And then same thing with collection and treatment. it was vastly too expensive to pump all of that water out of the aquifer and treat it and try and put it back in. So the 5 proposed were no action, surface discharge treatment, alternative drinking water sources, surface diversion, and then plug some 66 wells or contaminated wells in the area. The rubido is just the aquifer that they were coming from. No action, obviously. Do nothing about it, hope it just goes away on its own. That was not up for debate because there was a chance people's well water would be contaminated with heavy metals like lead and zinc and cadmium, which is not good. The surface discharge treatment was just to treat the water coming out of the creek itself, or where the springs were coming from, which was found to eventually not be effective because there was a cheaper and more complete alternative, if that makes sense. Another one was alternative drinking water sources. Just run a pipe from somewhere else to give these communities in this area, like Baxter and Pitcher and all these other small towns, a different source of drinking water rather than their local wells, which also very expensive and can be easily avoided. Surface diversion was another one. It too was pretty expensive. The whole idea was that they would divert any surface water, like any rainwater that landed in this area, and divert it away from the actual boreholes, so it couldn't leak through and get contaminated and into the rubido aquifer. That one was eventually declined as well, just because taking all this land and making sure no water runs into a certain set of wells is a lot of work and very expensive, and it would be cheaper to just plug the contaminated wells. As you can see, some of these small dots are the wells on the map, and essentially what they would do is just fill it with acid resistant concrete to make sure that the formation that they were mining, those heavy metals, couldn't leach into the aquifer that people got their water from. The before image was a map of the Kansas wells. This one is the Oklahoma wells. The creeks running through, Tar Creek specifically, and all the towns nearby, and all the wells that were contaminated. The final decision was to plug the wells. I think it was estimated to cost about $2 million in the 80s to plug all of them with, and I want to say there was around 66 was what was referenced earlier. And they also implemented long-term groundwater monitoring, which would just make sure that no matter what, they would catch any heavy metals that might contaminate the area. And this was chosen based off of cost effectiveness. It was way cheaper to just plug the wells and make sure that it wasn't as easy for those wells to leach into the aquifer. And then my source is here, the record of decision.